I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain.
Chris Gelser here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss The Art of Self-Defense, The Lion King 2019, the live-action, air quotes, version, and then Claire Denis' High Life. It's a big one, folks. And then it's going to be the return of everybody's favorite role-playing game, Who Dat? ComicCon edition. Matt, there's a lot going on this week. We have The Art of Self-Defense from Riley Stearns. We have Jon Favreau's Lion King. I don't even know where to begin. Now, typically, there's a way we do this that kind of gives away the game. So let's continue that tradition right now.
You came to the right place. You're learning karate. You're a blade, and I'm sharpening you. There's a mental component as well.
You mean like believing in myself?
Yeah, that won't hurt. I'm talking about something a little different. What's your favorite style of music?
Adult contemporary?
No, should be metal. You ever listen to metal?
You mean like hard rock?
Metal is much more aggressive than hard rock. From now on, you'll listen to metal.
Yeah.
It's the toughest music there is. What about hobbies? Is there anything that you feel particularly passionate about, other than your newfound passion for metal?
I enjoy France.
Matt, is there anything you feel particularly passionate about?
Besides this show?
Yes.
No, that's about it. This show is my life.
I appreciate that. It's nice to hear. It warms my dark, cold heart. So why don't you tell the fine folks at home and on the road, Matt, what is The Art of Self-Defense all about?
Sure. So Jesse Eisenberg plays Casey. He gets attacked. He's in a bit of a scuffle, and he's looking for a way to defend himself. So he joins the local karate dojo. And he kind of meets up with this kind of idiomatic sensei, and starts to get involved with a intense student played by Imogen Poots. But then he starts going to night classes, and it's a little different there. And stuff happens.
As always. Yeah. So, Matt, The Art of Self-Defense is what we like to refer to here as a dark comedy. I would say perhaps a pitch black dark comedy.
Yes.
And I remember I texted you the trailer to this thing a while back. And you never responded. So I don't know if you didn't get it, if you didn't watch it, or you didn't, I don't know. But I saw the trailer and I'm like, all right, this might be interesting. So was it interesting? Was it more than that or much less?
It was interesting. It was interesting, and I would dare say more than that. I'm not usually a fan of dark comedies. I mean, I don't want them to be super dark, and I guess this does go to some really dark places, but I still had a enjoyable time watching it. And I still thought it was pretty funny. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but it was. I actually had a pretty good time watching this.
Yeah, Matt, for this thing came out of nowhere for me. It was like a foot punch to the gut. I found it to be absolutely hilarious at times. I was easily laughing the loudest out of everybody in the theater. And I almost cried. I was laughing so hard at one point. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. And I'll tell you about it off air. But there is a couple things in this thing that just floored me. I could not take how hilarious it was. It gets a little dark in regard. Well, there's a few. That's not just one occasion, but quite a few. Unfortunately, there is an animal that is harmed, which I'm really kind of tired of. I don't need to see that happen anymore in my life. Though it plays to some comic effect later on. But it is, I think, a pitch perfect black comedy. I think there's some fascinating choices here that Stearns makes, and its use of violence feels very real and shocking when it happens, because the comedy is so effective. Its use of exposition as dialogue. It's odd because sometimes it'll come it's very straightforward and earnest, and at other times this thing is like off the walls wacky. And the way they deliver their lines, how they're talking too, it's like a Mammoth film if everybody was high. It may not be, I think, as surprising as it tries to be, but I still found it just at times devilishly clever. And I don't know. It's for me, it's like a Fight Club-esque satire of toxic masculinity, written and directed by Martin McDonagh, right? Who did In Bruges, which is a fantastic film. It definitely had those kind of vibes, but it's a big statement also on like I said, toxic masculinity, radicalization, I guess. Just perhaps even, what do you say? The way just its treatment and portrayal of women, for sure. You know how she can't be a black belt; she's a woman. That kind of stuff. Just there's just so much that this film has to say, and it does it exceptionally well. It is hilarious. I almost feel this too. I feel like when Stearns wrote this, he wrote this for Eisenberg. He's absolutely fantastic in this. It's pitch perfect. It's perfect for him and what he brings to a film. So I absolutely love this thing.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's funny that you, when I was watching this thing, I kind of just put out the thought popped into my mind. This is like Fight Club. That's more obvious that it's a satire, whereas hopefully it's not going to get the adherence that Fight Club does. If it does, that really says something about that person. But yeah, I thought it was. I had a really good time watching this. I'm glad we got the chance to catch up with it.
Yeah, to think too, we almost passed it up. I would never have forgiven myself. This thing is a dream, especially Alessandro Nivola, who plays Sensei. It's listen, I don't know if the whole, I don't know if I can even call it a mystery, really works. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out from the very beginning, but that's not the point. It's the journey we're on more so than the destination of figuring out what's happening, right?
Right.
So I don't know. It's just absolutely hilarious. I'm gonna give Self-Defense an A-.
Chris, I mean, it's tough because mark this day down, ladies and gentlemen, because Chris and I rarely agree. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an A- as well.
There you go. Whew! Thank goodness.
Whew, man.
So, there's a funny little backstory about this too. Initially, Mary Elizabeth Winstead was supposed to be in this film.
Oh.
Except, you know who Riley Stearns is, right?
No, I don't.
Her ex-husband.
Oh, okay.
And she had that little fling with Ewan McGregor on the set of Fargo.
Okay.
And ever since then, they've since separated. And so, yeah, for some reason, she's no longer in the film.
Way to be adult about it, guys.
But I can't wait to see what Stearns does next. I mean, this is his second film. I haven't seen his first, I confess, but this thing is a delight. But it is, I think, for a particular audience. I don't know if this is going to work for everybody. But if you enjoy the dark wit and the uncomfortable humor, then I think this is an absolute winner. I so desperately want to talk about that joke that had me crying. Almost. Oh, it's so good. All right. If you had a chance to see Self-Defense, which is playing in most theaters now, you can shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. Well, we actually have a certified classic on our hands from Warner Archive.
Pretty girl.
Yes, she's a very nice type.
You got types?
Only you, darling. exactly. Lanky brunettes with wicked jaws. Leo, compliments this evening.
Who is she?
Oh, darling, I was hoping I wouldn't have to answer that.
Come on.
Well, Dorothy is really my daughter. You see, it was spring in Venice. And I was so young I didn't know what I was doing. We're all like that on my father's side.
By the way, how is your father's side?
Oh, it's much better, thanks. And yours?
Say, how many drinks have you had?
This will make 6 martinis.
All right. Will you bring me 5 more martinis? Leo, line them right up here.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is a clip from the absolute classic film, The Thin Man, Nick and Nora Charles, which made it kind of still be fun to be drunk back in the day. But that's getting released by Warner Archive on Blu-ray this upcoming Tuesday, July 30th. They're also releasing Long Shot, the Seth Rogen, Charlize Theron film, which I think was a bit of a surprise for us too, right, Matt? That was much better than we anticipated it was going to be.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of featurettes on the making of that one. You can check that out. The Dennis Quaid thriller, The Intruder, is being released. This trailer looked absolutely insane. Part of me wants to check it out because it looks like it's going to be a bunch of campy fun. Includes 6 deleted scenes, an alternate ending, as well as a gag reel. This is one where he sells the house, but he refuses really to leave, and he's stalking the couple. Director Bo Huang's The Island is being released. A cataclysmic event causes a man who dreams of winning the lottery to become stranded on an island with his co-workers. We talked about The Thin Man, which features a brand new 4K remaster of the film. Warner Archive is also releasing A Streetcar Named Desire on Blu-ray. Shout Factory is giving us The Reptile, featuring a new audio commentary by a couple film historians, a new interview with the first assistant director as well. They're also giving us Lust for a Vampire. The Hammer film features a brand new 4K remaster of the original film struck from the camera negative, new audio commentary, as well as a new interview. Shout Factory is also giving us Quartermass and The Pit, with a bunch of new audio commentaries and interviews, as well as the sequel, Quartermass 2, a brand new 2K remaster from a pristine archival film print they found, as well as some new audio commentaries and interviews. Vinegar Syndrome is giving us Play Dead, as well as Hellmaster, and of course, from their Dirty collection, The Pink Ladies and Mascara. Too Scared to Scream, also known as The Doorman, is being released by Scorpion. It's a brand new remaster of that film with a couple of new interviews. And then being released on the first time, Matt, in 4K, Glory. Straight to DVD pick, Matt, is going to be Devil Music. An LA rock band are desperate for fame and fortune at any cost. After their manager convinces them that a deal with the devil will grant them all their wishes, they load up in an RV and head out of the crossroads of Mississippi. That is MISSISSIPPI, famed location of Faustian bargains. But will Old Scratch even show up? And if so, does this band have what it takes to make the darkest deal of all? I'm hoping Charlie Daniels shows up. What should we be streaming this week?
So I decided to watch a little blast from the past on Hulu this week. Most of the Friday the 13th films are available on Hulu, so I'm going to recommend that you watch the first one. A delightful bit of late 70s, early 80s ridiculousness with a very, very young Kevin Bacon.
The first one is really good. I was actually just started to read today before we went live. I think it's Birth Movies Death have an article about Friday the 13th 4, the final chapter.
Okay.
And how it is the best of the series. I don't know about that. That's the one they introduce Corey Feldman as the psychic kid.
Okay.
No, he's not psychic. His sister's psychic. Or is he psychic? The sister's psychic. I can't remember. They all burn together, rush together for me. Though I am a big fan. Jason is I think my favorite out of all the big kind of monster guys. So I just want to give a shout out to Norwal Music. They actually gave us a nice little comment on the YouTube channel. Remember, folks, sometimes we have the full live show like this. Other times we just load up an audio file into the YouTube so you can still listen to it, and then you don't have to suffer through actually looking at me. So that's all for the kids. Matt, let's go ahead and keep the train rolling. Let's spend a few minutes, hopefully very few. No, I'm just kidding. This is possibly my favorite film of the year. Let's talk about The Lion King.
Oh no, it's a little lion!
That is not a lion.
Well, then go check it out. What is it?
That is not a lion. It's a furry bird.
It looks like a lion.
That's not a lion. Let me get a closer look. Excuse me. Oh, all right, let me see what we're dealing with here. It's a lion! Run for your life!
Wait, Timon, wait, Timon, wait. It's a little lion.
It gets bigger.
Can we keep him? Can we please keep him? Oh, okay. I promise. I'll walk him every day. If he makes a little mess, I'll clean it up.
You'll be his little mess. He's going to eat you and then use my body as a toothpick.
But one day, when he's big and strong, he'll be on our side.
I've got it. What if he's on our side? Hear me out! Having a ferocious lion around might not be such a bad idea.
Well, then can we keep him?
Yes, of course we can keep him.
Well,
My God, who is the brains of this operation?
We're gonna name him Fred.
So, Matt, I think for me, in this new updated computer animated version of The Lion King, I think Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner were the best parts of it. I think those are really the only standouts for me in this entire thing.
Do you think so?
I think so. It's just almost entirely a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated classic.
It is. It is. I would also say that I thought I wasn't expecting to like. I'm going to butcher his name, which I always do. Chiwetel Ejiofor, his portrayal as Scar. I actually, I was expecting because I Jeremy Irons' kind of hammy classic performance in the animated film, but he was actually kind of menacing and a little scary, especially the way they kind of animate him. They somehow make it seem almost like he has a personality enough to where he is like the kind of jilted younger brother or whatever, and he's planning his revenge. And I thought that was actually really effective because he's not as hammy as he's more sinister, and I like that. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's nothing. I mean, you've seen it before. It's basically a shot-for-shot remake, and a lot of the stuff doesn't work as well as it did in the first one. I mean, Donald Glover's okay. Beyonce is Beyonce, and even her singing was a little over the top.
They're almost non-presences in this film.
Yeah,
almost everybody actually is a non-presence. I don't even know. I think the thing does the bare minimum to justify its existence. Really, I mean, I don't know. That might be wrong. I think if you look at this purely as an exercise in meaningless capitalism, then it's I think a gigantic success because it's made a ton of money. But it doesn't. There's no reason for this to exist. There's no soul to it, Matt. It's joyless.
Yeah.
And listen, it looks great. All right. It looks fantastic. But it's just, I don't see the point. And when people get all excited about Disney buying up all these properties and all these studios, this is what we're looking at, kids. All right. I mean, for every Avengers Endgame, you're going to get this. And Marvel and Disney's all in on these updated, lifelike, realistic looking animated films.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep seeing. There's a Maleficent sequel coming out later this year.
Mulan is getting a live action treatment.
Yep. Though they've excised the musical numbers out of that.
Yeah.
Because I guess from what I understand, they want to be more faithful to the material.
Sure. So no talking Eddie Murphy dragon?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe? I didn't see one.
But this is what happens. This is what we're going to get. And
yeah, I don't know if it's
not
really
sure
fair to say that's the whole Disney buying properties. This is their property. This is something they've had. Even if they didn't buy Star Wars and Marvel and everything else, this is still something that they would decide to do because
I get that,
stuff.
but it's more about their more about their commercialization, and they're going to be the big dog now. Not that they aren't already.
Yeah.
But they're going to be able to control. I mean, once they open up their own theater chain, I mean, this is the kind of stuff we're going to continue to see. It's not so much about maybe buying up other properties, but more becoming this gigantic entertainment media juggernaut. So I don't know. This thing just doesn't justify its existence to me. It doesn't bring anything or enough, or it looks great, right? So look, computer technology. This is beautiful, but there's nothing else to it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You really, I mean, I think Chris, we were talking about movies we were going to go see, and I said, you don't really need to see this. I mean, I could talk about it, and we don't need to see it. You're fine. But he went anyway, like a trooper.
I do what I can. I got to use up my A-list, baby. I got to get my money's worth.
Dude, you go see one movie, you got your money's worth in the Dolby.
Did Kid TFR like it? Did you?
She did. I mean, she did. She didn't seem like she loved it, but she seemed like she liked it well enough. So, and I couldn't help. I've been hanging out on Nature is Brutal on Reddit, and I couldn't look at any of that stuff the same way because it's just awful. I was like, huh? I mean, I got there sometime, and it's like, man, they're all talking about getting eaten by lions and hyenas and stuff, and I'm like, that looks like a really unpleasant experience. So I mean, it's nothing to joke about, kids. No. It's not cute. Damn it.
That's right. It's Grizzly Man all over again.
Mm-hmm.
No, why would you? God, good Lord, no.
Have you been to Nature's Metal?
No.
Nature's Metal is pretty low key, but I mean, it's it's not gory or bloody or anything, but it shows, But then I somehow navigated to Nature's Brutal through Nature's Metal, and it's gross.
No, I'm pretty much on the record trading Reddit, and then David Bowie, and that's about it.
That's it.
And then the front page, which I think is there's a heavy political influence on my front page.
I wonder why.
So, yeah, I don't know. In movies, of course.
Sure.
So, Lion King is playing everywhere now. It's made a ton of money. Do you think will they do a sequel? You think?
I don't know. I hope not. We'll see what happens. I mean, Beauty and the Beast made a ton of money. Jungle Book made a ton of money. What was the other one they just did? Aladdin. Aladdin's made a ton of money. I do want to revisit that as we get closer to the end of the year. At the end of the year, after Star Wars comes out, we need to figure out. I think last year we predicted 8 out of 10. Disney would have 8 out of 10 of the top grossing films.
That's right. Yeah.
And I want to see where we ended up on that.
I forgot all about that. Yeah. I'm gonna know that. So I'm giving this a C-. I think just because of Rogen and Eichner are the only things that really elevated above D territory for me. And it looks great.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's the best I can do.
Yeah, I'm going C- as well. It's not anything you really need to see. I mean, if you want to take the kids out to something, fine. But it's a movie they've seen before, but not like kids care.
I don't understand. Is it just they didn't do enough to differentiate it?
I think part of it is by the fact that, you've got this, it's still animated and it's still got the songs and everything like that. So you're expecting something to be more colorful and more expressive, and they made it look so real that animals don't really emote. So it just seemed like, animatronics, like you're going through Pirates of the Caribbean or something singing at you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're right. You're much smarter than me. Ish.
I don't know about that.
So if you had a chance to see The Lion King playing everywhere now, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. As always, would love to hear your thoughts. All right. Speaking of thoughts, because I got a lot of them, let's spend a few minutes talking about Claire Denis' High Life. I feel like this is something we could probably talk about for the next hour. Let's see.
Since we left the solar system, radio silence. Hold up. Almost all of us are still alive. We were scum. Trash. Refuse that didn't fit into the system. Until someone had the bright idea of recycling us. To serve science.
So Robert Pattinson there stars as Monty. He and a crew mat of death row inmates basically volunteer, air quotes, to go investigate a black hole in an attempt to harness its energy for the Earth. And what we inevitably end up learning basically is that space is all about banging. It's all about people just getting it on.
Is that what you would call that? Sure.
So there's a doctor that's part of the ship, that's part of the crew, and she killed her husband and kid, right? And she's obsessed with experimenting on the rest of the crew to try and create a child. So what we basically have is a science fiction horror film that's all about, I think, what our innate drive possibly to propagate the species and how that may ultimately be our undoing. I mean, there's a lot going on in this thing. It has a non-linear plot, which I tend to enjoy, and I think mostly works in this film. I don't know, and I don't mean this as a negative comment, but I think that at times that Denis is more concerned with presenting some beautiful images more than telling a riveting narrative. It's a little kind of, how do I describe this? I find it kind of like almost like Gossamer at times, right? Like it's hard to kind of to grab a hold of. So we're cutting in and out of Monty. So one of the crew members ends up getting pregnant, and eventually one by one something happens to mostly everybody ish, and it's just him and this kid, and it's him trying to take care of her as they hurtle to this black hole and all the things that they encounter. And it's at times exceptionally dark and unnerving, at times just visually and emotionally arresting. I don't know if it quite lands the ending, but I was riveted by this thing. How about you?
Yeah, I guess I was riveted, but I don't know. This is a pretty bleak film, and I don't really know what exactly he's trying to say,
or she
is trying to say. But we never know with the French. I mean, it could be they say Michelle for Michael, so who knows? But yeah, I don't really know what the director is trying to say with this, and it just seems like this hopeless, bleak march into madness kind of thing, where people who are already kind of at the lowest end suffering garbage, as he said, and we get a hint at some of their crimes, not all of them, that they obviously deserve to be punished in some form or another, but they've been kind of locked up in this box, and they've been given this mission, which at the end of the day, I think is just window dressing. I think they're really just trying to get rid of them, and I don't understand why you wouldn't just execute them as opposed to spending all this money to shoot them into space, kind of thing. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure out the internal logic of this film, and it makes no sense to me.
Dangerous mission, so they're going to send people whose lives they don't care about to see if they can pull it off, and then if they can pull it off and come back and survive, then great. So they have no intention of them coming back, right? And maybe it's more just a grand experiment. You just don't tell them that, and would he care, because they're all on death row anyway?
Yeah, I get that's the structure. I guess where I was kind of going with this is that I was nerding out with the fact that the space science of it didn't really work, and then I guess the fact that I didn't really understand I understood what the mission was in theory, but I didn't understand how it was going to work. So I think it would have been better off if they had just kind of left all that out, because there was I don't even know how you would bring in a box that's basically a shipping crate launched into space would bring back energy from a black hole. It makes no sense to me. But obviously I'm focusing on the wrong things.
They had a physicist and a black hole expert as a consultant, but an artist did design the spacecraft, so I think that's fair.
Yeah. So in any event, I'm kind of going off track here. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a dark film. It's a tough watch. I don't really feel like there's any kind of redemption or hope in this thing. It just seemed kind of like a slog to death. And I'm not sure it really earns any of that. I mean, I think you're right. I think it has a lot of static, beautiful images. But I mean, on the whole, I don't know if the performances are great. I think they're okay. I don't know. I expected a lot more because I've heard a lot of good things, and I don't know. I was generally unimpressed with this.
Oh, that's too bad. I think there's definitely enough there to keep you hooked. And I thought Pattinson was great in this. I mean, he really, at this point, and I'm really curious to see what he does with Batman, but he really disappears in these roles for me now. Not that he was ever, I mean, outside of the whole Edward thing, right? That he was, it's not like it's a Clooney thing where everything he's in, he's George Clooney. But still, he's great. I thought he was great in this. So Andre Benjamin is exceptionally strong. Juliette Binoche, Mia Goth. I think everybody is really kind of fascinating and has some very, I think at times, subtle layered performances that are, I mean, you can see the desperation in these people, you know? And I don't know. I just really thought it was really fascinating. And it's like I said, it's gorgeous to look at. It's got a nice, at times, almost ambient score, which I enjoy. So I don't know. I rather enjoyed this thing. I'm giving it a B+. Like I said, I'm not quite sure if the landing sticks, but just for the experiment that it is and the chances that she takes and what she's able to give us, no matter how dark and disturbing it is, I don't know. I just can't get it. It's one of those where I can't get it out of my head, I think is the key, right? It's been stuck in my head since I saw it. So I give it a B+. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I don't enjoy movies like that. We have seen so many movies, and I think that there are films that have been stuck in my head, and I think they're better than that are more experimental. I give it a C+. I just don't. I don't think. I think there's a nugget of some good ideas there. There's some good craft there, and I said generally the performances aren't good, but Robert Pattinson being, I think, the standout, the exception for me. But I don't know. I think it just is less. It's just half baked a little for me.
Interesting. Well, look at that. We don't agree. We're a whole grade off. It had to happen eventually. It's nothing drastic like A versus F, but
right.
I don't know if that would ever happen at this point.
I don't know. We got French New Wave marathon coming up soon, so we shall see.
Yes, we shall. All right. So go ahead, Matt. We're going to move on, and it's going to be time to talk about Who Dat. What's our favorite role-playing game, but it's going to be specific to last week's San Diego Comic-Con. A lot happened. There's a lot to talk about. So let's get into it.
Oh, I get it. I see now. You've been training for 2 years to take me out. And now here I am. Ooh, so exciting, isn't it? Okay, here's your chance. Come on. Come on, what are you waiting for? Here I am, right in front of you. Go ahead. Adolf here gets the first shot. Come on, what are you looking at her for? You need permission? Or maybe you need a little bit of incentive, huh? Okay, I help you with that. What's the matter? You missed that? It's okay, I can do it again.
Dobre, Reinhardt. Dobre.
Come on. Well, you need a manual?
So that is Wesley Snipes from Blade 2, directed by Guillermo del Toro, the best Blade film in the franchise. I will accept no other answers. At Comic-Con, Matt, you are Marshall Ali. You came out and were announced as Blade. And I'm going to sound a little ageist here. When the first Blade came out, Wesley Snipes was 36. He was 40 in Blade 2. Ali's 45. You're 45 now. Also, you're kind of wiry. You know, you're tall and very thin. I don't know what it is. I'm not seeing it. You're a fantastic actor, but I'm not seeing it. Talk to me.
Well, I mean, this is a part of the biggest, franchise machine that makes all the money. So I'll get the best trainers. I'll get the best, dietitians. They turned Chris Pratt from a doughy six-pack guy into this shredded machine for Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't worry about me. I've got the commitment, and I'm going to bring something to the role that I think, as an actor of my stature, and I'm going to say that as a person, who's obviously very full of himself in this conversation. I think it's going to bring everything to the forefront. I think I'll be able to handle it well. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think I always have to remind myself, it's 1988 all over again. Yeah, like Michael Keaton is Batman. Are you
Right.
kidding me?
Almost every time we do that, it turns out wrong.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I know. I just didn't. When we first announced, I'm like, really? There's no other. All right. What do you got for me?
All right. So we know that Terminator Dark Fate is coming out. Don't know a whole lot about the specifics of the plot, but a lot of the original actors are back. So you're Edward Furlong, and it has been confirmed that you're going to be in this film as John Connor. So what brought you back to this franchise that you had distanced yourself from?
John Cameron. He's producing this thing. He gave me a call, and then I'm doing my own thing right now. I'm not sure what that is, but still. So yeah, no, I'm excited to come back to the franchise. Of course, I'm going to come back to do this as John Connor. This is what I've been waiting for all these years for. I don't know why we have to keep bringing in all these other people to play me. Never mind the fact you have that just weird decision to blow up the whole point of the franchise to have my character be the bad guy in one of them. I still don't wrap my head around that. But still, no, of course I'm going to come. What am I doing? John Cameron calls me up, right? And he says, listen, we got a new crew. I got a story. I got a director coming in. I want you back. What am I going to say? No? You're insane. I don't care if the script was written by David Goyer. I'm going to be there.
Fair enough. Although, I didn't realize that you called him John, considering his name is James.
Did I say John?
Twice.
Well, he wants me to call him John.
Oh, okay.
Tim Miller, that's right. The guy who did the Deadpool films. Everybody loves Deadpool.
Yeah.
Me and John, James, whatever.
I guess I'm wondering what they're going with this film, where something about the little girl is now the key. It's no longer John Connor. So I'm wondering how that all changed everything. I'm kind of curious to see how this all plays out.
Well, the future is unwritten all the time. It can always be changed every single time.
I know, right? It seems very easy to change.
Plus, you do have Mackenzie Davis, who is great.
She is great.
Yeah, it's going to be really fascinating to see her as a Terminator. Arnold's back, so that's really all that matters to me.
It's true. You and Chris Pietascalzo have the first run fame.
That's right.
As long as Arnie's back, it's okay.
Oh, I pray, Matt, that you've seen this. Have you seen the trailer for Cats?
No, I've been avoiding it.
Well, that's my question. Is your Tom Hopper Cats? What the hell? But you haven't seen it.
I mean, I've seen the Uncanny Valley pictures all over the place. Like it looks absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. So I'm Tom Hopper. This is what I'm staying true to the kind of Broadway roots of this thing. You don't want a Lion King here where you have basically a bunch of house cats with James Corden's voice coming out of it. No, you don't want that. You want something that goes back to the actual play that I'm basing this off of. Trust me, it'll be fine. And I'm not a secret furry. Please stop spreading that rumor.
I was avoiding the trailer for quite a while myself. And it's weird. It's very, very weird. And I don't quite... I'm sorry, did I say Hopper? It's Hooper, right?
Is it?
I thought it was Hooper, and I had Hooper originally, but then I'm looking him up, and now it is Hopper. So it must have been a typo someplace else that I was looking at. Sorry, folks. Man, I got John Cameron. I got Tom Hopper.
It's all right. I called Claire Denis a man, so...
We are really just knocking it out of the park tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I don't quite... It's really weird looking. And then I don't quite get the sizes of the cats. Like, they're too small sometimes. I don't know. I'm very confused.
Very confused.
I feel like we have to see it though.
I'm going to be very upset with you for making me go see this thing, but I'll do it for the good of the show.
King's Speech was pretty good, if not instantly forgettable.
I can't believe Idris Elba's in this thing.
Yeah,
man,
why not?
This thing is just crazy. Gross. All
right, what do you got?
All right, so you're Tom Cruise. The Maverick trailer. You're the Maverick trailer is dropped. So Tommy, looking at this thing, is it just a rehash? Did you just take of the entire original film? Did you just take every scene out of the original and just slightly tweak it?
This is so perfect because I have not seen this trailer yet.
Oh, you haven't? What?
So
why not?
I don't know. I meant to, and then I just lost track of time, and I never got around to it. I actually forgot about it until just now. Sure, if it works for Star Wars, why can't I do it? Now, I'm assuming I'm going to be older in this one and training a new young pilot. I'm assuming is what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're much older. You're still a part of the Top Gun program, and you've kind of forego career advancement so you could stay a pilot, but they're basically not needed anymore.
Like an Admiral / Captain Kirk,
yeah.
Except they're going to be needed, right? By the end of the film, I'm assuming that's going to happen.
I'm sure you're going to be needed. Yes.
Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Because the Al Qaeda's and stuff, they don't have jet fighters.
Well, I mean, the Russians, it's heating up again with the Russians. So
it could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Maybe probably North Korea.
Oh, well, you don't want another. I mean, the president and their leader are best friends, so I mean, can't be
Mexico then.
True. It's Canada. We're going up against Canada. The evil to the north.
But sure, yeah. I don't having. I'm too busy playing. Is it basketball now? Is that what it was?
It's gonna be football. It's gonna be football.
Football.
If anything, leads me. You have. And as a side note, Chris Descalzo, my esteemed co-host, really needs to watch this thing.
I really do. So let's see, Top Gun Maverick 2020. That's right. Miles Teller plays the kid, but he's not in the trailer, right?
No, not that I noticed anyway.
That's weird. Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Ed Harris. Oh boy, oh boy. I'm glad Val Kilmer's back as Iceman now. He's a vice admiral now.
Wow, of course he is.
Interesting.
You've got to watch this trailer.
They removed the Taiwanese and Japanese national flags on the jacket. They're saying that maybe it was
culturally insensitive.
Done to appease China.
Oh, okay.
Because they don't want to upset them when it comes to it. Since they're, I bet you they're probably bankrolling a bit of this too. Chinese cinema. Interesting. It'll be the film. I'm trying to see here if Kenny Loggins is coming back. I think that's all that really matters.
That's the real kicker. That's the one thing we need.
I'm not seeing anything here though. Harold Faltermeyer though is doing the score with Hans Zimmer. Man, that is quite a duo. Interesting. All right, Matt.
Yeah,
your Marvel bros or bras are all up in arms. You are Natalie Portman.
Mm-hmm.
You've been announced that you'll be playing a female Thor.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, I guess, I just like to ask these nerds, are they not familiar with the comics? Because this is literally what just happened in the comics.
Yeah, but it's more of that SJW crap.
Yeah, I would challenge anybody to go out and read it because it's well established that if somebody picks up the hammer. Now, granted, it doesn't seem to be quite that way in the MCU, so you'll just have to see how they work that out because of Steve Rogers wielding Mjolnir. But in the comics, if you wield Mjolnir, you become Thor. We've had Throg, the Frog Thor. We have Beta Ray Bill, the Space Horse Thor. So, there's lots of Thors going around. So I don't see what the big deal is about this. And it's not like Chris Hemsworth character is going away. He's just going to be, he's no longer worthy. He's got his own thing now. So it mirrors the comics. And guess what, guys? believe it or not, if you haven't read that sequence of the Jane Foster run as Thor, it's really one of the better runs of comics that have come out in probably the past 10 years. So you should really check it out.
I never got into Thor, which it bothers me because I think I really would have been. Well, here's the thing. I don't think I used to like Walter Simonson's art until I got older, until I actually really started to appreciate it. So part of me thinks I'd like to revisit his whole run on Thor. That's considered the golden age of Thor, right?
It is. And Thor is just patently ridiculous, and it's awesome. Like there's literally a frog Thor. Throg.
Right.
It's amazing.
Everybody likes frog Thors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check it out. Now, I think everybody too should cool their jets, man, because it's not going to be Jane Foster Thor film. It's not what it's going to be, right?
Yeah,
he's going to be in it. I'm sure she's going to be for a healthy chunk of the film of Thor. Or Jane Foster. Does she have a different name, or she's still just Thor?
No, she's Thor. So when she has the hammer, she becomes Thor, and Thor becomes the Odin son because he can't wield Mjolnir anymore. He's not worthy to wield it anymore. He has Stormbreaker, which is the other thing.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't. Do you think that's what's going to do? Is it going to be like a Captain Marvel thing where she is the star of that film? I don't think
so because it says Tessa Thompson's in it, Chris Hemsworth's in it too. So I don't think they mess with that. I mean, because here's the thing, not for nothing, but Chris Hemsworth has turned into the MVP as Thor of like one of the best characters in the MCU. So you'd be insane to like get him out of there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy what YT did with that whole franchise.
Yeah, I know it is. It's crazy, and it's crazy what Russos were able to run with that and just make it, Fat Thor. I mean, come on,
I bet you too. That's the only reason why Portman's doing this is because of YT.
Now, I will say the one criticism I do have about it is Portman is a very small woman. I mean, she's got to be, if she's 5 feet, I'll be impressed. And she probably weighs like a buck nothing, if that. So I don't know, having like, I don't know if they'll have like a body double to come in as when she's Thor to make her like huge and imposing. Like just the big Viking
computer generator up.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to go handle that. So I'll be curious.
Yeah, I don't know. Man. Nat's 38. That's what she lets me call her Nat.
Because you guys are down like that?
Yeah, she's cool. Yo.
Mm-hmm.
What is Natalie Portman's height? Let's find out together, folks. 5'3".
Okay.
So.
Taller than I thought she was.
Well, she's probably not 5'3", though, right?
Right, that's true.
She's shoe size 10? Why is that on here? You freaks.
Seems like a huge shoe size for someone who's 5'3".
Right?
That's really weird.
Weirdo Google people. 5'3". Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's see how that all shakes out. Mm-hmm. All right. You got any more for me?
I got one more.
Cool.
All right. So you're Henry Cavill. We saw your first footage as The Witcher.
Better than expected. I thought it would.
Yeah, it looks pretty dope. So are you kind of moving back away from movies? Or are you going to go back towards prestige television like you started?
Oh, did I do that?
What was that? He was in the Tudors. Yeah, that's where he got his big start.
Oh, okay. Was that like a Showtime thing?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I know. I did that on Showtime. No. I mean, I think it's, the lines are crossed now. Everything's blurred because the quality of television we were in the golden age of television, folks. If you didn't know it, the last, 10 years?
I would say 20 years.
Yeah, has been really the golden age. It's no longer a slight to do TV, be a TV actor instead of a movie actor. We ping pong back and forth now. So no, I don't know if I'll ever be Superman again, but no, I'll do this series on Netflix. We'll see how it rolls. There's a part of, I was talking to Chris Scalzo on the first run. I think there's a part of him that thinks that I am like a gigantic a-hole, but I can't quite confirm that. Just the vibe he gets.
Yeah.
That he, I don't know what it is. I'm sure he's perfectly nice, or I'm sure he thinks I'm perfectly nice, but talking to him, I feel like he's a little suspect to me. I don't know, maybe he's jealous because I'm so good looking.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but
Is he imagining that, Matt? What do you think?
No, I mean, I would have to say that, Henry, that that you bring it up. I think that is true. I think that's why I liked you in the kind of conniving villain role so much in Mission Impossible, because it seemed to fit your personality. I'm not sure that maybe the failings of Superman are definitely all on Snyder and Goyer. I think that's probably 90% of it, but maybe you're just too much of a little bit of a sleazeball. You're a little off.
There was that thing that I said, right, about not being able to take women home anymore or just hit on them because of the whole Me Too thing.
Sure.
I think I walked back a little bit, but I don't know. There's just something about I don't know what it is, Matt. There's just
I think
maybe
he's
I
really...
am just intimidated or jealous about how good looking he is.
Yeah.
But there's just a weird thing because he's good as I feel like he's not a good actor. He's just really handsome.
Yeah.
But I thought he did a good job as Superman. You know, I thought he was fine in what else have I seen him in? Oh, and in Fallout.
Yeah.
I thought he was really good in that role.
Yeah. I never saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't know if he was any good in that.
No, I have that. That's going to be part of maybe my great unwatched at some point.
Well, all I can figure is this. I've seen some interviews with him, and he doesn't seem to really know that much about or care that much about his characters or any kind of their background and stuff like that. So he just kind of gives me this vibe that he's like the quarterback who also doing the drama club, and he can do whatever he wants because he's really handsome and he doesn't really have to work hard or put any effort in. He just kind of coasts, and I feel like that's what it is. And I think he gets
maybe that's what
he gets annoyed when he actually has to put in some effort into it, which turns me off.
I think that's it. I think you've put your finger on it. Interesting. I think you may have nailed it. All right, I got one more for you to wrap it up.
Okay.
So the CW, Arrowverse CW stuff. Arrow goes away this year, right? I think they're doing 8, 9 episodes, maybe 10.
Right.
But Crisis is here. I finally watched the last episode of The Flash. And let me tell you, this was not a strong season.
Okay.
At all. It seemed to go on forever with the same plot lines repeated 2 or 3 times throughout this whole season. So, but part of the ramifications is that the Crisis has been moved up to next season. And the big announcement for me at ComicCon was Brendan Routh is going to play Superman next year in the Arrowverse.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And I'm curious. So you're Brendan Routh, Matt.
Yeah.
Are you Crisis Superman? Are you going to be old Superman with the white Reed Richards hair? Or what I'm really hoping for, are you going to be Kingdom Come Superman? Or are you just going to be Superman? Because it's supposed to be Superman Returns Superman, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but what version of it are you going to be? I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to be kind of a pretty much stock Superman that you're used to seeing, maybe a little older, but I don't think they're not written it out to have me be the Kingdom Come or the Crisis Superman. Now, I really push for that because, I think the Kingdom Come one would have been fantastic, but they didn't decide to go that way. I mean, it'd already be confusing enough from the Supergirl version of Superman that's flying around, and not to mention the fact that I also play Ray Palmer, the Atom.
Mm-hmm. I am curious how they're gonna. Because the whole thing about the multiverse is there's different versions of you.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that Ray Palmer is Superman in another reality, right? It would be.
I don't think so.
I don't know. But listen, I always thought Roth got a raw deal with Superman Returns too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just it's just a movie of him lifting heavy things pretty much throughout the whole thing. Though that initial when he shows back up when he rescues the plane,
that's fantastic.
That is so vintage. Good. Yeah,
I mean, so good.
So I don't know. It made me want to. When I saw the announcement, it made me want to watch Superman Returns again and see if I had appreciated it a little more than I did when it first came out.
Yeah.
Man, still though, the biggest letdown from a trailer to a film I think ever.
Yeah, that trailer rocks.
It was so good.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Superman Returns trailer with the, I think it's the Planet Krypton music as it opens.
Yeah.
Possibly my favorite trailer of all time. And also, too, one other note, too, that I'm excited that finally in this season of Supergirl, I'm 2 seasons behind at this point, but this upcoming season, they're ditching the skirt.
Oh, okay.
And it's about time. It never made any sense. It is so ridiculous that she had a skirt. I know that's what happens in the comics, but it's dumb. It's not practical. We're not even going to get into Power Girl's suit.
Man, do you think you're gonna have a Power Girl? They're gonna have Melissa Benoit with a huge cleavage cutout, wearing a one-piece bathing suit, basically.
So ridiculous. But I'm glad she's getting a full outfit with tights and everything. So good for her. And do you have any other thoughts or discussion points about the Comic-Con this year? I know DC really didn't. There's no Warner Media, right? There's none of that stuff this year.
Yeah.
But Star Wars didn't have a big presence there either, right?
No, they didn't, because they've got the one film coming up, and then obviously, Dan and Dave from Game of Thrones, they skipped out because there was a grassroots campaign to get some pitchforks going when they got up on stage for the final Game of Thrones panel, but they dipped out.
Yeah. Man. Are they still doing that? Are they the ones doing the Confederate show? Is that still happening on HBO?
That's not happening. They are doing something for Star Wars.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Those are your Whodats for this week. How would you answer those questions? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Lots of errors this week. We have a lot of interns to fire. It's going to take quite some time. Next week on the big show, though, well, I think it's the closest thing we have to an event film around here, Matt. And that is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Are you aware that this is 2 hours and 48 minutes long?
I wasn't aware, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go see it anyway, so why even complain about it?
Yeah, it's not Hateful Eight long. That's what I should do. Is I should finish watching the Hateful Eight there. The new version, the TV or the
I haven't
Netflix
watched
version.
the TV version of it yet. No.
So, and they're also supposed to be doing Dragged Across Concrete, which is the Vince Vaughn, Mel Gibson film. Another long one too, man. That's like 2.5 hours too.
Great, you're really sticking it to us this week, aren't we?
So, pack a lunch, stay the day. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. Go to the website itself. You find lots of fun stuff there. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. That'll help other people find the show. Matt, let's go ahead and take an extended break, and we'll see you all soon.